What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, the TESORO SUGO-FEST just had a data download back into global now. So now we can see here that the TESORO SUGO-FEST will be arriving on the 11th of December, and in this video we're going to be breaking down the SUGO-FEST structure, whether or not you should be pulling or not for this SUGO-FEST, because it is a very interesting SUGO-FEST, and hopefully the rates do show that it will be a good SUGO-FEST. So in this video, as I said, we're going to be breaking down the SUGO-FEST, how it's structured, the parts in it, and also the rate boosted characters in the SUGO-FEST. I'll be making another video where I'll break down each of the new characters that will be arriving, so you guys know exactly what these characters do. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this. So if we click on the event information right here, we can see the One Piece film Treasure SUGO-FEST is here. So this is confirmed to be our treasure map SUGO-FEST. So I am expecting the Big Mom treasure map to be announced really soon on global, because, you know, this is the treasure map SUGO-FEST, of course. The characters in this SUGO-FEST are all going to be trusty characters against Big Mom, and TESORO should be the highest point booster. He should be like a 2x point booster. The Sanji and the Reiju on this banner here are like the treasure mode rare recruit units, and this also does come along with a brand new batch with Guild TESORO. And as I said, with the other video that I upload, I'll be breaking down each of these units separately, giving my thoughts and opinions on each of these guys. So we have the film characters have newly arrived in the special Treasure SUGO-FEST. Plus, in this SUGO-FEST, all wanted posters are going to be 4-star or better, so continuing on the trend of having gold-only SUGO-FESTs on global. So that's awesome, you know, having not to have to worry about silvers, of course. You can still get fake golds, and it is confirmed as well. I was just trying to get the banner data mined out of the game, and when I was data mining the banner, there was the little screenshot to show that Secret Reds will also be in this SUGO-FEST. So if any of you guys were wondering, Secret Reds will be in here. So even if you get a multi with all golds, you still can hope to get a Secret Red to appear. So, the new TESORO will appear as a SUGO-FEST exclusive character, and along with TESORO, there's going to be Dice, Baccarat, Tanaka, Karina, who are all of the new batch along with TESORO, and then the treasure mode units being Sanji and Reiju, and they're all trusty characters, of course. Now, unfortunately, with movie legends that come out, so we've got TESORO here, Shiki should be in January, if I had to guess, and then Zephyr might be in like May, April-ish. We'll have to wait and see for Zephyr, but for TESORO and Shiki and Zephyr, these characters are not voiced, unfortunately. It is actually quite a shame, because TESORO is a really good, honestly, all the movie legends are really great, but it just really is unfortunate that he's not going to be a voiced character, so that is kind of a shame here. Recruit trusty characters to gain a ton of treasure mode points, of course, and the new Sanji and Reiju are going to be exclusive to this SUGO-FEST. So after this SUGO-FEST ends, you're not going to get another opportunity to get your hands on these characters until, you know, a future special SUGO-FEST later on where they'll make them available. And if you do pull Sanji and Reiju, they'll come with maxed sockets with Despair, Bind, Auto Heal, Charge Specials, and Damage Reduction. And the 4-star versions only have 3 slots, so they're not going to have damage reduction and charge special. You can actually just pull these characters naturally, but they will be guaranteed in this SUGO-FEST on certain multiples, and we'll be getting to that in a little bit. Additionally, all new characters will be trusty characters, as we already said, coming up in December. So we don't have a confirmed date as to when the treasure map will start. We can see here that this is part 1 of the SUGO-FEST here, and the event period at the bottom says the 11th of December at 1900 PST, and part 1 will go ahead and go up until the 13th of December. Now, if I had to guess, I would assume that the treasure map is going to be starting on the 14th at midnight, like the tick over between the 13th and the 14th. That's when I think the actual treasure map Big Mom will start. Usually it's a couple hours, like 5 hours after part 2 of the SUGO-FEST starts. That's typically what happens, so that's what I'm assuming is going to be the case here. So let's continue on here. The new Sanji and Reiju are no longer going to be in the rare recruits, of course, and the effects of trusty characters will differ depending on the treasure map, of course, but I would assume that the Sanji and the Reiju are going to be continued boosters on future SUGO-FEST, future treasure maps, of course. Now, this treasure map SUGO-FEST is split into 3 parts, like most parts of the treasure maps, of course. Part 1 is for 2 days, from the 11th to the 13th, as we said. Part 2 is on the 13th. Now, as I said, I believe 5 hours after part 2 starts is when I believe the treasure map will begin, and when the treasure map SUGO-FEST, you know, when the treasure map is confirmed, where we get the full list of boosted characters, I'll be making a video for you guys, like breaking down the Big Mom treasure map and how to prepare for it. So that lasts from the 13th to the 15th, and then part 3 will go from the 15th until the 18th. So the 18th should be like the final day of the treasure map. Now, we'll get into the actual structure of this SUGO-FEST. So, for part 1, the first and the fourth multi-pulls are going to be 30 rainbow gems. So glad that that's back. The SUGO-FEST we just had with Gear 4 and Nami. Unfortunately, there were no discounted multis on that SUGO-FEST, where I really think that they should have had at least one discounted multi-pull on that SUGO-FEST. But we can see here that they are returning for part 1. First and fourth multi-pulls are going to be 30 gems, which is fantastic. The second pull on part 1 is guaranteed to give you the new Sanji. Now here it doesn't actually state that it's going to be an evolved Sanji, so I guess it could be either the 4-star or the 5-star version of Sanji. It is kind of crappy that it is not the evolved version, because it means that, if you do get him, you'll have to evolve him and he won't have all the sockets and stuff like that. But at least he's going to be a guaranteed unit. Now the 3rd, the 6th, and the 8th multi-pull are guaranteed to be a SUGO-FEST exclusive character, and the 5th multi-pull is guaranteed to be the new Reiju on part 1 only. You can only get Sanji and Reiju guaranteed on part 1. So I just want to make sure that people know that, so they don't do pulls on the other parts expecting to get these characters. They're not guaranteed on any other part except for the first part. I don't really like this. I feel like Sanji should have been guaranteed on part 1 and Reiju on part 2, because I just feel like it's kind of a kick in the teeth, because you have to do 2 multis to get guaranteed Sanji, and then another 3 after that to get your guaranteed Reiju. It would have been much better if it was just 80 gems part 1, 80 gems part 2. But, what Bandai like, you have to do those 5 multis to get that Reiju. Personally, for me, I don't think I'll be doing 5 multi-pulls. I think I'll be doing at least 3, because this SUGO-FEST should be pretty good, and we'll be going through the raid boosts in a little bit. The 10th multi-pull is guaranteed to be a SUGO-FEST exclusive character, plus SUGO-FEST exclusives will be raid boosted. Unfortunately, it's not a guaranteed raid boosted character, it's just rate boosted further, which still a lot of people on global really don't like this. I'm not a fan of it. I would much prefer if it was at least a rate boosted legend. And here we have Last Wanted poster is going to be a SUGO-FEST exclusive character with rate boosts, and also will be at max special level. So if you do pull a legend on the 12th pull, it's going to be at max special. Again, it's only a further rate boost. It's not a guaranteed rate boosted character. So pretty unfortunate, but still, would I suggest pulling? Honestly, I think because it's not a 2x legend rate SUGO-FEST, I really don't recommend most people to be pulling here. Obviously, if you're going like really hardcore on the treasure map, this is going to be a good SUGO-FEST to go for. But considering the big SUGO-FEST that a lot of people have already spent a lot of gems on, I don't think too many people are going to be pulling on this specific SUGO-FEST. Now, moving on to part 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 have the exact same structure. There's just a little bit of change with part 1. So for part 2, the first and the fourth multi-pulls are guaranteed to be 30 gem multis, which is great. The second multi-pull on part 2 and 3, not like the Sanji, it's not going to be guaranteed Sanji, but the last poster will have new characters rate boosted. Now, honestly, I don't know why it's not a guaranteed rate boosted character. Like, it should be one of the banner characters. That's a really, really big miss, honestly. But like the first part, it's going to be the 3, 6, and 8th multi-pull are going to be a guaranteed legend, and the 5th multi-pull is going to be a showcase characters rate boosted. Again, why is it not a guaranteed showcase character? Like, that's really, really crappy, honestly. And then the 10th multi-pull is going to be a guaranteed legend with further rate boost, and then 12th is a guaranteed legend with further rate boosts and max special level. Now, the thing about this SUGO-FEST that is actually kind of cool is that we will get a free rare recruit pull all along this SUGO-FEST, which is actually pretty good. So, I think we get 5 free SUGO-FEST pulls, which is pretty good. You can potentially get some new characters off of that. Hopefully, you guys have some good luck in this SUGO-FEST pulling some new characters. But yeah, that's actually kind of cool. We do get a couple of free single pulls. Hopefully, you can get some really good stuff. You can get legends from them as well. But here we have the rate boost for each part of the SUGO-FEST. So, for part 1, the characters that are going to be rate boosted is we have TESORO, which is awesome. He's an amazing character. As I said, we're going to have another video later discussing each of these characters in depth. Charlotte Katakuri, amazing, one of my favorite characters in the entire game, probably my favorite legend in the entire game at the moment. V2 Sanji, an amazing unit. Garp, who's again an amazing sub-unit. V2 Shanks, who is phenomenal. So a lot of good rate boost, honestly. But then you've got Magellan, Dogstorm, Hody Jones, Log Luffy, man, and then Crocodile. So you can see a couple of low tier characters, but like half of that list is insanely powerful, and then the bottom half of that list is like, whatever. So part 2 is TESORO again, so he's boosted on all parts. We have Gear 4 Luffy V2. So it is kind of a shitty thing that they've done this, because they've made Sanji and Reiju guaranteed on part 1, but if you want to get your hands on Nami or Gear 4, you have to pull on part 2 or 3. So it's infuriating the way that they've structured this, but it's smart on their behalf, because you have to decide, you know, what part you want to pull on, or you pull on all the parts. But if you want Gear 4 Luffy, part 2 is going to be rate boosted. Also, V2 Akainu is going to be rate boosted. V2 Rayleigh, Kung Fu Luffy, Shirahoshi, Buggy the Clown, Blackbeard, and version 1 Aokiji, and Cavendish, who recently got his 6+ on One Piece Treasure Cruise Japan. But the thing is, you know, if you guys did pull on part 1 of the Gear 4 Sugo, you probably have your hands on Cavendish, considering his rate boost, of course. And then for part 3, the final part, is going to be Guild Tesoro once again, Nami, fantastic unit, V2 Aokiji, Luffy and Ace, V2 Fujitora, V2 Law, Cat Viper, version 1 Akainu, Corazon, and version 1 Doflamingo. Honestly, out of all the rate boosts, I feel like part 3 has probably the... Actually, you know what? Probably part 1 has the worst units. No, I think part 3 has the worst units. I don't know. Like, each of the parts have, like, a couple of good units, and then there's just a lot of crap, because in here, right, Nami is fantastic, Tesoro is fantastic, Aokiji is really good, and Luffy and Ace is honestly really good as well. He's probably, like, as I said in my tier list, he's tier 0, but then you got so much crap that's just conjuncted into this. Like, you got V2 Fuji, like, he's trash, V2 Law, kind of outdated. I mean, the Cerebral Law's kind of good, but the Striker one, kind of outdated. Cat Viper is still okay, but most people have him. Version 1 Akainu, crap. Corazon gets his 6+ later, but most people have him. And then you got V1 Doflamingo, who is, like, kind of not needed nowadays. But some pretty interesting list of characters that are actually boosted here. I don't really know how I feel about it, but as I said, I'll be doing 3 multi-pulls on part 1, hoping to get my hands on the guaranteed Sanji, of course. If I can pull Reiju before then, dude, that would be amazing. And hopefully, out of the characters that I'm missing here, I'm missing a couple characters. Guild Tesoro is obviously the main target here. I already have Katakuri on my account, but V2 Sanji and Garp would be crazy good. But I mean, it's not a 2x Legend Raid SUGO-FEST, so I'm not really expecting to get too many reds here. But now, a lot of people say, you know, should I be pulling the SUGO-FEST? Everyone got 50 free Rainbow Gems. Some people pulled, some people didn't. Obviously, if you didn't pull, I think that's the better option. But I honestly don't recommend too many people pulling on the Treasure Map SUGO-FEST. The only reason you should be pulling on the Treasure Map SUGO-FEST is if it's 2x Legend Rate, or if you're really going to be one of those people that farms a lot of Treasure Map. Me personally, I do farm a lot of Treasure Map. I want to get more potions, and obviously I want to get as many red tickets as possible, so I will be farming this Treasure Map, so it is a really good opportunity for me to get some more characters. But if you guys are a little bit more free to play, I would suggest holding onto your gems. Anniversary is around the corner. Anniversary will be between like mid to late February, and it should be the Big Mom and Brook SUGO-FEST, unless if they change it around for global. You know, the vote is going on right now for the choose your own legend thing, where we can choose the next dual character. Perhaps that's going to be our anniversary. We don't really know at this current point, but a lot of people are thinking that it is going to be Big Mom and Brook for our anniversary, so I would suggest waiting for that specific SUGO-FEST. But as I said, if you guys are going to go ham on the treasure map, then picking up a couple of these units are going to be very, very useful. All of this batch are pretty good, honestly, so make sure to stay around, stick around to the channel for the next video that we're going to be uploading on this actual batch. So hopefully you guys stick around for that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys have, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.